And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of the Sparkling Tuna Cup STC, week number 62. I'm of course VIP, and with me I'm joined by these amazing players and by the lovely people in the chat. Bienvenidos, welcome everyone, welcome to another week of the Sparkling Tuna Cup. I'm your host VIP, and oh boy, it's been quite a day. It's been quite a day, Papi. I was smurging earlier. I was having a cheeky ladder session before the stream, and games were had. Games were had, Papi. Games were had, and it's time to cheer up. It's time to cast some StarCraft. Oh boy! Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at it yourselves. If you're maybe tuning in for the first time, this is an open tournament. It's an open tournament open to all regions, to all leagues, to all shapes, to all sizes, and we've been hosting it for a number of years at this point. And if you want to help support the event itself, if you want to help fund the tournament and grow the tournament, then Patreon is the place to be. As you can see just underneath Azura's name, we have a Patreon goal. We have, so far how much we make on Patreon on a monthly basis. And once we reach that goal, then we can grow the prize pool, we can boost it, we can help grow it and pay out additional players as well once we hit further stretch goals. So if you want to help support the event, Patreon is the place to be. Otherwise, watching is good enough. It's good enough. It's good enough. Exclamation mark B in the chats as we do switch our scenes over and have a look at the bracket ourselves. It is stacked, plenty of amazing players here tonight, and there's a lot to go over. There's a lot to go over. Quickly moving over towards the left hand side, we do have Cristiano at the top of the bracket. Cristiano, of course, is the #1 seed. Cristiano, he is the Sparkling Tuna, has won more than any other player out there. The most amount of Sparkling Tuna Cups have gone the way of Cristiano. He's going to be the #1 seed. Scrolling down, we have Demi, we have Rostock, we have Baby Marine, Hon Mono, Roselia, Geralt, and many others as well. Just quickly going over them, we have Geralt, we have GG Machine, Rebellion, Eva, and at the bottom of the bracket we have our match. We have a PvP between LunaSea and Azura. Let's go. I was going to be jumping on GG Machine versus Rebellion first, but the players were MIA, the players were missing, so I wasn't quite able to catch them. We were looking for a series that was available, and we did opt to go for the Protoss versus Protoss. Oh. Here we go. We're jumping right on into game one on Oceanborn, and spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have our South Korean Protoss player, the Teal Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless. It is LunaSea. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Italian Protoss player, the green Protoss representing Bing Bong Exports. It is Azura. Here we go, and if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. It's not an easy one to call. I would say that Azura and LunaSea are similar in skill. We'll see who is feeling better on the day and how this PvP turns out. We have seen time and time again Azura be a little bit more greedy in these kind of PvP matchups. We'll see if that continues to be the case or if we go something a little bit different. Likewise, our eyes are going to be on LunaSea as well as we enter the Protoss versus Protoss. Oh boy. So best of luck with those predictions. Last for the time being, the probe is moving out across the map to get a bit of a scout off. Back at home, we should be seeing 2 gate openers from both players, and we'll keep an eye on the second pylon placement as well. We'll keep an eye. There we go. 2 gateways for LunaSea, and I mentioned before that Azura is known for going for the max packs opener, for going for a gate expand or a gate cyber expand off of 1 gateway. Does go for a faster nexus, and it looks to be the case this time as well. Only 1 gateway. Cybercore is on the way, and Azura is being greedy, is cutting corners and attempting to take a faster expansion. Oh boy. Bold move by Azura. We'll see if he can get away with it. Meanwhile, LunaSea across the map is still, trying to keep up, going for a hidden pylon. I was going to say a fake hidden pylon. The pylon is missing in the main base. Azura is fully aware, and Azura is looking for that pylon. We're on the hunt, we're on the scout. Meanwhile, the probe is still patrolling, which means we might actually commit to something. This might be for a proxy starport. Not Stargate, I meant to say. You know what I mean. The Skytos unit. The Skytos building, even. Speaking of, and there it is. Oh my god, he's crazy! Okay, it's not going to be the Stargate. We're going for a proxy Twilight Council, and this can mean one thing. This should mean one thing and one thing only. Proxy Dark Shrine. Why else would you proxy the Twilight Council across the map? Unless you want to throw down that Dark Shrine alongside it. Meanwhile, Azura, I mentioned before, with the initial opener, With the initial opener, we have skipped the second gateway, but going for the expansion on the low ground. We're going for a much faster Nexus. Very greedy build here by Azura, and do you see what I see? I see a lack of Robo. Now, it is common to go for a Robo follow-up just to be safe and secure, especially if you think that your opponent's being aggressive, so we might go for the Robo here. If we do not, then we're going to be in a lot of trouble. There's the Dark Shrine! Yeah, Dark Shrine is on the way, as we did mention before. And with the Invisible Man, if there is no detection, the game could just end. Azura scouts! He sees! Oh my god! Azura! He's crazy! The Zealot was checking the edge of the map, and we do confirm the Dark Shrine. We're going for the Pylon to depower everything. I mean, again, the Dark Shrine will still finish up. LunaSea will protect, he will defend. Stalkers have arrived, and we will shut down the Zealot. Meanwhile, back at home, Robo. The Robo is on the way. We should be chronoing out that first observer as quickly as possible, and Azura should be okay. Should be able to defend and should have detection in time. As the Pylon is saved, Stalkers move out. Azura back at home. We have Shield Battery, we have an Overcharge, we have Sentries, we have Force Fields, we have everything we're going to need. And LunaSea is expanding. LunaSea expanding behind this. The Dark Shrine is still going to finish. We're going to try to make whatever use we can. Trying to poke in. Proxy Pylon is done. And the Observer's on the way. I'm curious, based on how little... Okay, we're good. I was going to say, based on how little DPS we have available here, can DT still break through? But now we have 2 Stalkers, we should be okay. Yeah, we don't even warp in Dark Templar. Back at home, we're just saturating, establishing ourselves on 2 bases. Azura, because of the faster Nexus, does have a slightly better economy. Is slightly ahead. Oh, and we are going for Glaives. Looks to be a setup for a 2-base all-in. Glaive Up's on the way. Robo should be for Immortal production as well. LunaSea, he's still crazy and he's still being the aggressor. Hallucination will confirm that there's an upgrade on the way, but... Oh, never mind. Oh, there we go. Would you confirm? But, I mean, it could be Blink. Could be another upgrade entirely. We still have to confirm. Back at home, Azura getting to his own Immortal production, +1. Twilight Council working towards his own mid-game. And so far, Azura's looking solid. Ah, the tuna. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. Ah. It's catching up in the chat. Best games you played. All the players are skilled. Ah, practice makes perfect. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. We learned today. We learned during that ladder. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. Yeah. As War Prison's moving out, we do have a Dark Templar inside it. Going to transit into the main. Meanwhile, we do see Azura skipping Blink, going straight to charge. So it's going to be Immortals and Charge Lords for one player, Immortals and Glaive Adepts from the other. Oh boy. And the Glaive Adept player, he can trade well against Charge Lords, true. Can trade well, can bypass the Charge Lords and try to get into mineral lines. There's going to be a lot of potential for LunaSea with how he does engage and how he does approach this. As there's detection of the DT will not get damage done. We do save it though. DT is going to be saved. This is going to be an alternate way to morph in Archons as well and have some kind of splash damage available against a Charge Lord composition. That is going to be useful. Meanwhile, Azura continuing these hallucination scouts, and we get eyes on the move out. It looks like we barely do miss it. Uh-oh. Yeah, we do miss the move out. We'll confirm no third base. No third Nexus here. Gateway explosion as well. Even though we haven't seen the main army, we know that a push is coming. Azura has seen enough. And back at home, extra shield batteries on the way. Cannons as well. It's not going to be an easy hold, but the stack defense will help. Cannons, shield batteries, more immortals. Meanwhile, the Glaive Adepts. Again, the power of the Adept is that they can shade past the army into the mineral line or into the main base and try to force Azura to split up his own forces. Here we go, we're pushing in. We're getting ready. Adepts do shade forward. Cannons are finishing up. And we do wall off just barely. We break through the wall, but we have the force field. Yeah, we're fighting within range of the shield battery. The shield battery does keep the Immortal alive. The Immortal it's strong. Oh my god. Finally, it looks like the first Immortal is going to go down. One Immortal falls. Adepts say shaded to the main. We get a handful of probe kills, but not many. And so far, Azura is holding. I say that, but Adepts, they're getting a little bit more done in the main. They're going for the production. Depowering gateways, 3 probe kills. And that's a lot of Adepts. That's a lot of Adepts making their way towards that natural. It looks like they commit to the shade. Yeah, they shade outside the natural. God, but that is such a solid wall of defense. The cannons, the shield batteries, the juggling. The overcharge was a little bit premature, is what I will say. So a bit of a premature overcharge, but LunaSea does back off and is going to be expanding. Now, what is crazy, even though we did get some probe kills in the main, Azura did preserve most of his workers, and we actually have an even worker count. The worker counts are even. LunaSea has a faster third base on the way, but eventually this army from Azura will break out. And this Archon Immortal-based army does scale better into a longer game. Before that does occur, though, LunaSea keeps shading in and commits. Commits into the main base. The probe count was pretty close, but now more probes are falling. Getting 3 probe kills in the main. Up. Oh, getting 4, 5. Oh my. We keep going, man. 8 probes. 8 probes go down, and just like that, LunaSea has an economic advantage. Takes a worker lead. He's up in probes. He has a third base as well, and Azura is becoming more and more all-in. And we're still stuck at home. Not the best shade this time here, but we do get 10 probe kills. An additional 2. Not bad. And here comes the move out. And there's no turning back. It's all or nothing for Azura. What do we have to work with? Looking at Unistab, 5 Archons, 2 Immortals, and soon to be a mass amount of charge lots. Ooh, +2 is done as well. The upgrade lead is insane. LunaSea has +0. So 0-0 against 2-0 here for the upgrades. And remember, we may have invested into this third base, but it's not going to help in the defense. That is a massive army. LunaSea needs more time. Is attempting to set up his own static defense. Shield batteries, meanwhile at the same time Adepts and DTs into the main base. We are wreaking havoc. Third base of LunaSea is going to go down. But that's a lot of Dark Templar and Zealots. We'll eventually clean this up though. Here we go, Azura just forcing his way towards that natural. The force fields, they lock down the army. They lock down the Immortal. And there is no escape, but we have 2 more Immortals on the high ground. You have to respect it. Azura backs off. Back at home, he does defend. Only losing 5 probes. And very nice defense here from Azura. And he's stutter stepping forward. Once again, the force field. We lock down the army. We catch another Immortal. 1 Immortal left. And it looks like Azura has done it. He's broken the third, broken the natural. Nova goes off, does connect, takes out 1 Archon. But Azura doesn't care. We can take it over to the face. We like it, Bobby. We like it. GG gets called, and Azura will take game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Azura will defend, will hold, will survive. Again, just, yeah, beautiful scouting out of Azura to confirm the Dark Shrine. Was able to confirm the move out as well, and the 2-base push was able to wall off in time, and in general the reactions and the responses from Azura were on point. Was able to get the better of LunaSea time and time again, and with that takes a lead in the series. But it's a best of 3, and I'm sure LunaSea will take a different approach, especially after the failed aggression in game 1. I'm sure we'll have a different kind of setup here in the early game of game 2. We'll see. We shall see. As we are jumping into game 2 on Golden Aura. Let's go. Let us go. Meanwhile, looks like we are getting some updates on the bracket. We'll go over it once we wrap up this first series. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. We will get there. Also, apparently there was an earthquake like in northern Sydney yesterday. I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. Crazy. We were too busy casting, Bobby. Too busy casting. But here we go. We're jumping into game number 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Teal Protoss, down in this series. Looking to bounce back here and now to force the ace match. It is LunaSea. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the green Protoss player from the land of Italia, representing Bing Bong Exports. It is Azura. Let's go. And again, despite the greedier, more economic opener that Azura went for in the previous game, LunaSea was unable to punish it, was unable to really get the lead that it was hoping for in that previous game, was able to get a faster third base. True, was able to eventually work in that direction, but the problem is that to get there, we were so aggressive, so assertive, so committed that we didn't really scale well into the mid game. We spoke about how LunaSea was lacking upgrades, had 0/0 upgrades compared to the +2 of Azura. Likewise, the army quality was worse as well. Less Archons, less Charizards, or Blink Stalkers. We're stuck with Glaive Adepts. And again, Glaive Adepts, they don't scale well into a longer game. So over time, LunaSea did run out of steam, and Azura snowballed out of control. But now we're getting into Game 2. Getting into Game 2, Probe is moving out towards the bottom left-hand corner of the map. Once again, one gateway into a Cybercore, into a faster Nexus. This is essentially, not quite exactly, but this is a variation of the Max Pax opener. Max Pax would go for a Stargate before Nexus, so Max Pax is a little bit safer in his approach, but we saw that last game there was no Stargate, and we might see the same this time. So a little bit greedier here from Azura. Is a little bit greedier. Meanwhile, the probe is scouting, looking for the second pylon. The second pylon has been proxied towards the bottom left-hand corner of the map. So once again, LunaSea is going to be hiding the pylon. Last game, this led into a proxy Twilight Council into Dark Shrine. This time, looks like we're not really proxying anything of the sort. We're not committing to anything. It's a fake proxy pylon. This time it is a fake. First Zealot is out. Probe dips in. And there is that Nexus. Ooh, LunaSea keeping up with that Nexus timing, though, does skip his first unit. Interesting. So basically what happened here, even though it was a 2-gate opener, we're only making 1 unit. So we skip a unit just to cut corners, just to try to keep up with the greed of Azura. So I mentioned before that I was expecting LunaSea to take a different approach, and we're seeing it here. Last game he went for a proxy, went for some cheese. This time, we're trying to be as greedy as Azura, headed towards the mid-game. So I appreciate that LunaSea is shifting gears here and is trying to keep up, and we'll see where this takes us, as it's going to be a Twilight Council opener out of LunaSea. This time, this should be Blink. Imagine we should be working towards Blink instead. Azura back at home, settling in, calming things down. Take of choice is a Robo, so this should be for Immortal production. We're going to have LunaSea with a more mobile army, and we're going to have, instead, Azura with a more robust army with more Immortals. This is going to be the kind of dynamic that we're going to be working with. Or at least it should be. There's that Blink on the way. Hallucination Scout coming in. And we'll get eyes on the 2-base setup. You can see Azura doesn't really flinch, going for his own hallucination, does confirm the Twilight Council, does confirm it researching. Is where it's not going to be DTs this time. And essentially, Azura should be taking the role of the defender by building up Immortals, working on upgrades. We have a much faster Forge, so Azura is going to be prioritizing +1 and +2, and should be working towards a +2 timing. LunaSea will be one step behind in those upgrades, but with Blink, we can roll around the map, we can threaten the main base. If we have high ground vision, we can blink into the main as well. There is a lot of potential with LunaSea's army. A lot of potential. As Adepts are moving out. Shading towards the main. We do commit to the shade, but we do wall off in time. And we're forced to recall. And the Adepts will escape just barely. They do make it back home. But nice defense here by LunaSea. Adepts are moving out. Immortal production well underway. We'll see if Azura can keep up with the Adepts of the Teal Protoss. So do step in. We get a probe. We get 1 worker so far. Meanwhile, we have a full wall here on the high ground. LunaSea instead is the first to take a 3rd base. Azura shouldn't be too far behind. As we shut down an Adept. And we should now be expanding. Yeah, it's a bit of a later 3rd base, but it's on the way nonetheless. A bit of a supply block. And LunaSea, even though we did invest into Blink, we haven't really done much with any Blink Stalkers. We actually haven't morphed many in at all. Stalkers are now moving out, and we're going to be able to poke in, but yeah, LunaSea has been more passive so far, and immediately taking up into charge lots. So didn't really invest too heavily into these Blink Stalkers. Can blink into the main, has high ground vision, and we can go for the pylons, or even some probes. Getting into the main, getting 2 probe kills, not bad. 2, 3 probes go down. The army does rotate over at the same time that the Stalkers do hit the third base. LunaSea trying to pull his opponent apart. And he's getting some damage. I mean, does get 3 probes, not bad. Not bad damage. From here, players just going to be saturating their bases. +2 is on the way for LunaSea. Interesting that we saw Azura didn't work towards +2, instead worked towards +1 armor. He's getting the armor upgrades instead. Despite not having charge yet. Interesting. Oh, nice force. We did catch. Oh, we did try to catch some of the Stalkers. Very nice force fields there. Same time, Toad Ups, they hit the natural. Getting 4 probes. Getting 5 probes. 6. Up. 7. Oh my god. 6 probes, not bad. We dive into the main, we get an immortal. Massive pickoff. 1 immortal goes down. Basically for free. Yeah, Azura unable to split up his army. Massive pickoff. Doesn't sound like a lot, but considering that we only have 2 immortals left, I mean, that's a big blow to Azura. Losing a third of his immortals. Picking up a sentry. Sentry goes down, +2 is on the way. LunaSea building up towards charge lots. No other form of tech yet. Until now, there we go. Second robo's on the way. And Azura's going to be trying to defend and try to work towards disruptors. Okay. I mean, disruptors are ideal in PvP, especially in the mid game. Like, they thrive, they dominate, but it takes a while to really get into that disruptor production. And until that does occur, LunaSea, I mean, has been doing quite well. Setting up for a 4th base, working towards a Dark Shrine. The Prism is spotted. And we'll see if LunaSea can break Azura before the disruptors do really kick in. It's not going to be easy, though. Like, on Golden Aura, this natural and third base are very easy to defend because they're right next to each other. They do share this center location. And it's not going to be easy to break. Behind this, LunaSea taking his 4th. Disruptors are now on the way. Overcharge is ready. And we're going in! We're trying to, but we do force field the ramp. The choke point even. Disruptor has arrived. The disruptor is here. LunaSea doesn't pull the trigger. And do we try to sneak up? Oh, he's sneaking! Oh! Oh! Okay, not quite. I was like, does he try to get a cheeky shot off? And so far, does hold his ground. Nova goes off. Oh! Not the best connections. We graze the Zealots. DT's from behind. Observer goes down. We do have a cannon. And another Nova's going to go off. Does take down a big chunk of Zealots. Yeah, and Azura's a brick wall. At the same time, Stalkers, they dive into the main. Or I say Stalkers, Zealots. They warp into the main base. Azura may hold on to the front lines, but the main base is looking quite vulnerable. Shield by every cent of energy. We're defending for now, but here comes another warp in. But the choke point is really hurting LunaSea here. He can't break through. Likewise, DT gets shut down. Leading on more Zealots. Observers are on the way, as we have noticed that there are Dark Templar. We have gotten 3 probe kills. But this is still not good enough, and LunaSea, he keeps trying. He does keep going. Just more and more warp-ins. This time with Dark Templar. The Prism goes down. And so will the DTs. We have detection. We have observers. And LunaSea, he just rammed his face against a brick wall, and the wall stood strong. Azura doing his best Showtime impression. He defends, he breaks out, and now we're getting ready for a counterattack. And what do we have to work with? We have 2 Disruptors, 2 Immortals, 21 Stalkers. That's a lot of Stalkers. Oh my god. We're even on upgrades, and we're waiting for the Colossus. Now, you may think, Colossus, that's kind of a weird unit here in PvP. Colossus do amazingly against gateway compositions, especially if your opponent does not have Disruptors. Colossus, they struggle against more Disruptor-based compositions, but alas, LunaSea is stuck with a gateway army, has not teched up into a bay. Now, the problem is that whenever Azura moves out, LunaSea is ready for a run-by. He's ready for a counterattack. As you can see here, we have a wave of Zealots waiting for that opportune moment. As soon as Azura pushes, LunaSea is going to pull the trigger. Waiting for that moment. Now we have the Colossus, we have consistent splash damage. It's consistent. 5th base on the way for LunaSea. But despite the base count, LunaSea, he's falling behind in that army supply. Has less workers. And here we go, LunaSea going into the main and pushing towards the Natural at the same time. Azura out of position. Looks like we will defend the main, but what about the Natural? We're getting on top of the gateway. We're trying to get on top of the cannon. The whole position micro. Oh my, Azura, he's cracked. Oh my god, he's crazy. The whole position, he saves the cannon. He defends the main. DT goes down, Zealots are deflected. Meanwhile, the main army was not able to push through onto the front lines as the main army of Azura was standing strong. And Azura, he's snowballing out of control. We're getting ready to move out. Azura, he's about to max. And LunaSea is still stuck with a gateway army. Just purely gateway units. No Immortals, no Disruptors, no nothing. No Archons either. Oh boy, and the best that LunaSea can hope for is to try to backstab his opponents and come in from behind. The Observer sees the rotation. Azura is ready. Another big warp in. I say big warp in, 3 Zealots. Not the biggest. There we go. The rest of the army does rotate. At the same time, LunaSea going for the 4th base. But we're ready. Nova's going up. Oh my, oh, the friendly fire! A little bit lackluster there. Azura, calm down. Oh my god. He dragged the Nova back into his own army. But it's okay. It's okay. Azura is still far enough ahead. He can Nova himself. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. And again, it's mainly Chargelets and Stalkers. We should be able to push out. LunaSea taking another expansion. Just mass expanding. The one thing that we're missing here is Archons, but Colossus are basically like an alternate Archon. They're an alternate answer to the Mass Chargelet. Here we go. +3 is now done. Azura's moving out. The best chance for LunaSea is a base trade. Is going to be that base trade. LunaSea actually trying to even come in from behind. The army is spotted. Oh, the Prism gets shut down. And do we turn back around or do we commit? We're committing. Again, it's the only way. Is to force that base trade. And do we recall back home? There are DTs as well. There is a win condition here for LunaSea. But the Colossus do recall. Getting on top of the main army. 12 probes went down. LunaSea is close to maxing out as well. In a head-on fight, Azura will win. And LunaSea knows that, so he avoids it. He backs off. And again, LunaSea is about to max. He's been down heavily in supply for so long, but he's about to keep up, or he's about to reach that. Now again, the soup does lie. Like, LunaSea's army is still very cheap. It's a very cheap army. But it's very mobile. And Azura just recalled. So it's possible that Azura might just actually stay at home and wait for recall to be available again. Which means LunaSea has time to rebuild, to max out, get his economy up and running. I would love to see some robos and a bay and disruptor, or like the setup for disruptor production. I think that's really what we're missing here, but we're not getting there. It's not happening yet. As Azura's taking another expansion, did throw down a Wooler stack defense. And Nexus is denied. Azura attempting to move out. Once again, LunaSea rotating. Azura keeping up. Does keep up, does punish some of those gateway units. Still a run by on the right-hand side. LunaSea taking another expansion. Going for the left, collapsing all those cannons. And as the army gets distracted, we have DTs towards the natural, Zealots towards the 5th. Azura getting pulled apart a little bit here. We'll get some Zealots. War Prism slipping into the main. Uh-oh. And things are getting a little bit chaotic here. And massive Zealot warp in. Azura turns around, recalls back home. And Azura should be able to defend the main base. But what about the 4th? One Colossus goes down. The other as well. We get both Colossus. Massive pickups. But you can see LunaSea's supply plummet. He plummets in supply. He lost a lot of Zealots in the main. A lot of Zealots and Stalkers in the front lines. Again, Azura's just been trading so efficiently. But where's the detection? Uh-oh. Yeah, no detection, no observer. Nexus goes down. Like, LunaSea's just being as annoying as possible. Just dipping in, sniping a base, sniping some workers here and there. Like, it isn't enough to kill Azura, but it's annoying. It's very annoying. Very frustrating. Meanwhile, the counter DTs. Let's go. Yeah, we're throwing down more stack defense. DT's rotating towards the left. Side defense has not been rebuilt, so this base is vulnerable. There we go, more cannons on the way. The observer does spot that our Templar. Yeah, and Azura's just turtling up. Just turtling on up. Oh, does get the prism. Nice pickup. And now we're finally taking up Temple Archives on the way. That's going to be for Storm, for Archons. Mainly Archons. But I'm still not convinced by that addition to the army. Oh, the Novas! Oh my god, massive connections! Novas do connect. DT's to the right hand side, they get a cannon. And another. And see, this is what I wanted out of LunaSea. Stargates. We have 3 Stargates on the way. We're getting ready for Sky Toss. We're getting ready for the ultra late game. The ideal, the perfect kind of PvP composition, which is going to be Sky Toss and Carriers. And LunaSea had the opportunity to try to rush into this himself with all this map control, but hasn't been able to. Now we get a Bay on the way, but this feels too late. We're 1 step behind. We're multiple step behinds at this point. By the time LunaSea gets into Disruptor, we're going to be taken to the skies. And Azura's going to be headed towards Carrier. Oh boy. Oh, can we catch out the main army? Still possible. Both players are maxed out. Once again, we do get an Immortal. We get 2. And Two Immortals go down. Expensive losses here for Azura. Azura gets sniped. Nervous going up. Oh my, massive connections. Massive connections. Ay, ay, ay. As we do see Azura take another big fight. Go base on the way. And once again, Azura takes a massive supply lead, but once again, it's one of those things where Azura just can't move out because LunaSea is so ready for a base trade, so ready to embrace a base trade at a moment's notice. Forces a recall. It's going to be on cooldown. To attempt a DT counterattack. Azura pushing forward. That's a lot of cannons to defend. Oh, we do get into a mineral line though. 6 pros go down. Oh, we're ready. There's no recall. Remember that. There is no recall. We're going to get a base, and we're going to trade a base for a base, as LunaSea is going for the gold. Azura does get top right. That is going to be a lot of cannons, so at least Azura's going to be trading. As the cannons do buy some time, but they're going to be cleaned up. Azura rotating over. But by the time Azura does rotate this space, it's going to fall. So we trade 1 for 1. Nice stellar positioning. You can see Azura wants to try to catch the main army. He's coming in for an intercept. Does blink forward. Adds some stalkers. And wants to try to engage as well. Won't quite get there. Oof. Does get the Dark Templar. It costs us 2 stalkers, but it's okay. It's okay. Pulling back. LunaSea pushing forward. Recall is now available once again. I would love to see, especially because we have the Stargate, I'd love to see a fleet beacon and a mothership. Even if we don't start carrier production yet with all these Stargates, I would love to see a mothership just so we have a second recall. Like, that's going to be massive in this PvP. Or just in general, really. Now that we're trying to keep up. We do catch the main army of LunaSea, we get an Archon. There we goes off. Raising another Archon. And LunaSea does lead off a lot of units trying to break through these cannons. Yeah, LunaSea plummets in supply once again. As I mentioned before, like, this army that LunaSea is working with is just so fragile. It's just not very efficient at all. Which is why, even though we've seen LunaSea max out a couple of times, it doesn't last long. Doesn't last long in the end. We do bring on top of the army. Do we have an observer? We have a handful. Yeah, they're scattered around. None with the main army. LunaSea rotating once again. You know, eventually Azura's gonna get the strength he needs to have the confidence to move out across the map. Eventually. It's gonna happen in like 10 minutes. Oh, actually, never mind. Yeah, 10 minutes. We'll get there. But that's also why I would love to have a mothership just keep the mothership at home and just have that second recall available just so we can move out across the map and can be a little more aggressive. Speaking of recalls, we hit the right hand side. At the same time, Azura engaging with the main army. LunaSea gaining ground, pushing in, breaking through the cannons. And the cannons are going down. We're going to have to recall. Plus, reinforcements are being shut down as well. That's a tough call to make. At the same time, LunaSea taking the gold. He's taking the gold base. Azura moving out across the map. Refuses to recall. Actually, pushing in. Oh, where are we headed? Yeah, there we go. I was waiting for it. There's that recall back home. And that means that LunaSea can hit bottom left. Oh. Remember, recall is not available. But we do have a lot of cannons. It is going to buy time. Enough time for Azura to respond. Azura should be able to shut this down without losing the base. Should. At the same time, DTs are hit once again. Oh, yeah, they do get into the mineral lines. Probes are going down. But Azura just wants to send it, Papi, send it. Let's go. I believe. You can do it. Oh, the disruptors! Oh my god. They're so exposed. Massive connections. They don't get caught out. If these disruptors all went down, then maybe LunaSea could have a chance, but alas, he does miss them in the end. Collapsing on the fresh mining base of Azura. Gets us around. Azura will respond. He races back home. Does race back. Meanwhile, Nexus is gonna fall. And Azura will defend and does save most of his probes. I'm impressed. Most of the workers did survive. They're being sent back over. And LunaSea has run out of steam. He's, in a way, harassed to death. We're down to 24 army supply. We barely have an army left. GG gets called! And Azura will take the series 2-0. Will advance on into the next round. Whew. GG. And again, that was more so LunaSea throwing away most of the army, attempting to harass and break his opponent to pull him apart. Less so Azura moving out, as he was never able to actually push out across the map. Never was able to really pull that off. Regardless, GG, well played. Azura will take the series, will advance on. And we have some updates. We have a lot of updates on the brackets. Let's catch up.